This year has been a wonderful year for horror. I think this has been the best year for horror since 2016. This year we had The Cursed, we had X, we had Bodies, 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 and although a film is subjective and a lot of people might have not liked those other films, one thing that we can't disagree on is that this has been a wonderful year of horror, and one of the films that I was really worried about this year was Orphan First Kill. When this film was announced that it was going to be a prequel to the first one and they were going to bring back Isabel Fuhrman as Esther, Satan's favorite child, I was really worried. And word of advice, you might want to check out the first one because this film will spoil the ending of that first film, and that is an ending that you do not want spoiled. So going into this film, I was very nervous, but seeing how the reviews were coming out very, very positive, that got me a little bit more excited for the film. And I can say this, although William Brett Bell has not had the best films come out, he directed Stay Alive, he directed the Boy films, and he directed The Devil Inside, and although those were not very critically well received, this film is probably the best film that he has done critically. I like the way that he infused a little bit more tension in this film, and this might be a unpopular opinion, but I think this film is just a little bit better than the first film. The issue that I had with the first film is that it ran on for a little bit too long, and this film comes in at a really nice 95 minutes. But I thought it was a lot more entertaining than I actually thought. I thought there were a lot more intense sequences, and I do think that they didn't lose a step with Esther. I thought they actually invested a little bit more in her. We got to see a little bit more what makes her tick and what got her into the orphanage. I really enjoyed all that, and I think the best part of this film was Julia Stiles. I think this has been the best that she's been in a long while. I really enjoy her in Save the Last Dance, and I really enjoy her in the Bourne films, but I think she was really at home in this film because I thought there were different layers to that character, and not knowing anything about this film besides the fact that it was a prequel, I think that enhanced it just a little bit more because even though I was not a fan of the way that this film was shot, whenever we had interior shots of the house, I think those were the shots that looked a little bit better. When we had exterior shots, it felt like somebody had just barely came out of the shower and it was just fogging up the cameras and nobody decided to clean them off. But I really liked the way that it was toned down. I really liked the fact that it was very intense. It didn't lose a step as to who Esther is in Orphan. Still the same demonic little bitch that we know. If this was the first film that you saw, you would not be able to lose a beat. The only thing that actually carries on from that first film is the ending about who Esther is. So that's why I say that if you're going to be interested in this film, watch that first film, because I think not knowing the ending of that film is actually really intense, and I think it is very, very unique and really well done. I think Jaume Collet-Serra strives in horror, and I thought he was going to be coming back for this film, but he's not. And I really enjoyed that film for what that film was, even though it did ran a little bit too long. This one is a little bit shorter, but it never feels like it's dragging on for a little bit too long. You see the way Esther thinks and the way she calculates things, the way she's able to manipulate people a lot more in this film than she was in the last film. And I thought for the most part, even though there are not a lot of jump scares in this film was actually a little bit better than I was actually expecting it to be. I am a little bit bummed that it is a kind of a limited day and date film with this one, because it is dropping in theaters on select screens and it is dropping on Paramount Plus, and I think that's how people are going to watch this film. I think this was a great theater experience, and I had a lot of fun with this film, even though it did not stray off too long, and there are some more twists and turns in this film that I actually liked in this film. There are things that I didn't expect. There are some CGI moments towards the end of the film that really didn't work for me, that looked very tacked on, but for the most part I had a lot of fun with how demented this little child is. I like the way that she got her name. It didn't feel too forced, and it actually blended in with the film as well. It was a lot more bloody than the last one, even though it doesn't go over the top with the blood. It actually feels a little bit more intense and a little more vile than that last film, but I had a lot of fun with this film. I think this was a pleasant surprise. If you do get a chance to check it out in theaters, please treat yourself to this film in theaters, because I thought it was a lot of fun. Like I said, there are some effects in this film that didn't work for me all too well, But if it is a rainy day, or if you're getting ready for that Halloween season, this is going to be a fun film for you to check out. I do think that it's a little bit better than that first film, but overall, I'm going to go ahead and give Orphan a 7.5 out of 10. It was a very great surprise to see this film because I had a lot of questions going in, and even though this is something that I should have mentioned it, but I do think that even though Isabel Fuhrman does come back to the role as Esther, there are moments in this film where it does take me out of the film just a little bit because they do not de-age her. So if you watch this film and then watch the other film, then it's going to probably detract a little bit. But I still had a lot of fun, even though it did pull me out of the film just a little bit. But what are your thoughts on Orphan First Kill? Were you a fan of that first film, or do you have any expectations for this film? Go ahead and drop those thoughts in the comments below. And if you like this video, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on more reviews. Click that bell notification so you get notified every single time a video pops up. And if you are shopping around, go ahead and check out any other videos that I have on the channel. And I'll see you guys next time.